yeah, welcome everyone. Happy Friday. We've got a great episode today with Gus Pelogia. We're going to be talking about SEO and PPC synergy, brand SEO, and knowledge panels. I see a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat. Gus is already in the back room. If you want to ask questions, see how he's doing, type it in the chat. Today we'll be talking about SEO and PPC synergy, how they work together, some brand SEO and some knowledge panels. Today's a lovely day here in the Bay Area. Happy Friday, y'all. Let me know where you're from. Stefan, my man. Francisco, welcome to the show. You have a countdown. You count down for about 8 minutes while I get things ready here. We usually wait for our guest. Our guest is already in the back room. Gus is in the live chat. If you want to ask, say hi. Francisco, where are you from? We got less than 8 minutes to go. You'll see a bunch of you coming in slowly. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. Let me know where you're from. Today's topics, we'll be talking about SEO and PPC synergy, brand SEO, and knowledge panels with our special guest today, Gus Pelogia. Francisco is from Brazil. Don't be shy, guys. I see a bunch of you in the live chat. Let me know how the weather is in your area. If you're drinking anything this fine evening. If you're just waking up to the SEO video show, we're live every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. What's up, fellas? Fletcher, my man. Hello. Gus is in the live chat, y'all. If you have any questions, if you want to say hi, leave them in the live chat right now. Ernesto, Dre Dog, what's up, Gus? My man.
I want to do a test with the actual microphone now. I realized it wasn't on.
Okay, oh, there you go.
So, yeah, I think you hear me now, and I think it's off now, right?
No, it's on, but everyone else can hear you too.
Okay, I'm gonna ditch the
No, it's okay.
the extra microphone.
Okay. Ethan, my man, happy Friday. Gus is already in the background, guys. We got less than 5 minutes to go. This is gonna be a great one, guys. SEO and PPC synergy, brand SEO and knowledge panels by Gus Pelogia. Oh yeah, Gus is jamming in the back. I see him dancing. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a party, guys. Oh yeah. Bunch of you are coming in. Don't be shy. Say hi. It's getting warm in my area. It's over 90 degrees. Gus, what's the weather like in Dublin?
I think we're around maybe 20 Celsius here. I'm not sure how much is that in Fahrenheit.
I think that's about 90. It's hot then, right? It's pretty hot?
No, not really. Ireland Ireland doesn't. Maybe during summer it gets nice, but usually it's very windy and rainy. So if I can get out of the house with a light jacket, I'm happy.
Nice. All right, guys. We have Gus from Dublin, Ireland. Oh, yeah. Francisco says, "Hi Gus, we are excited too." I still got a few more copies of the SEO in 2022 book. Gus is also a contributing author in this book, so be sure to let me know if you're in the US. I'll send you a free copy of this SEO in 2022 book. Email me your address at dre@seo.video. Again, it's dre@seo.video. Ethan, I still didn't get your new address. Let me know and I'll resend you your copy of the SEO in 2022 book. So we'll be talking about what Gus talked about in this book. We'll be talking about SEO and PPC and knowledge panels. All right, guys, we got less than 2 minutes to go. Grab your drink or coffee. Oh, yeah, Ethan. I got you, my man. All right, we got about 1 minute to go. I'm going to start slowing down the music. Get things ready. This is when my nerves kick in, so I got to do some breathing exercises. All right. I've been doing this for 2 years now. I still get nervous. All right, guys, we'll be talking about SEO and PPC synergy, brand SEO, and knowledge panels with our special guest today, Gus Pelogia. I'm your host, Paul Andre de Vera, aka Dre.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey!
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the SEO product manager at Indeed, Gus Pelogia. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Ethan, Francisco, Fletcher, Stefan, Gustavo, Ernesto, Natalie, Latonia. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Why are SEOs good at game shows? They know how to get quick answers.
All right, latest from Google. Good descriptions and human-readable and diverse meta descriptions are really good. All right, make sure your descriptions on the Google Search Essential, they make sure your Google descriptions are truly descriptive, because meta descriptions aren't only displayed on the pages that on the user sees. It also lets the people know what's on the content slide, right? But high quality descriptions can be displayed on Google search results, and it's just a good way to increasing your click-through rate. All right. You want to be helpful to Google, guys. Remember, speaking of helpful, Tate Kubaitus shares his latest on the helpful content update. Let's check this one out.
And this data we've used for years. It's been a fairly reliable predictor as to what's kind of important on a factor by factor basis. So with these, we see that the diversity factors at the top are all the same. So the number of factors used and entity diversity still top the list, and they have for quite a while. We see that authority factors, backlink factors, are up a bit. And we see that relevancy factors are down a little bit. But keep in mind that this is the top of the list that's a couple thousand factors long. So going up or down a little bit at the top of the list doesn't mean that any of these are unimportant. They're all very important. It just looks like there's been a shift, a minor shift in the weighting of, certain classes of factors. And so it looks like, the big shift is that, authority went up a bit, got a bump.
All right, I know that was a little hard to read, so be sure to watch the whole video and see how they understand this data and see the insights. Ted and the crew go deep into the data they see. All right, Andrew Tate has been all over the internet these days. Here is some top strategies Andrew Tate is using to dominate your attention by Ryan Stewart. Let's check it out.
Attention is more important than opinion. This is more of a philosophical thing, but when it comes to content and your marketing, pick a side. Controversy is what captures attention and drives engagement, and engagement is what social algorithms love and feed on. So if your content is bland, lacks argument or opinion, and doesn't make people feel something, then it's going to fall flat on its face in today's internet. See, we as humans, we've eroded ourselves, we've cheapened ourselves, we've sold ourselves out to our core basic human instincts, and social media algorithms, they know this and they exploit on it and they prey on it. So let's take a step back, right? What does this mean for you as a professional business marketer and owner? Does this mean that you go on a rampant hate speech? No, absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't do that. But take a look at a piece of content like this. I'm talking about something controversial and presenting an argument that you can benefit from. So when it comes to your marketing, you've got to look for trends. You've got to look for things that you can present and provide an opinion on and also allow people to benefit from. It's the only way that you can get ahead of algorithms today. If you're just doing bland stuff, nobody's going to care, and you're going to waste a ton of time and a ton of resources.
Now that you got your searchers' attention with some helpful thoughts on provoking, and now with the whole writing meta descriptions, how do you create content that stands out? Chris Penn shares his thoughts.
First best only, to create more value, to create value that stands out, that people have not seen before, and that they look at it and go, wow, this helps me understand something or learn something or amuses me, whatever the case may be. But really good question. Try that template out. First, best, only. Look at all of your content piece by piece. Is this the first of its kind? Is it the best in our industry? Is it the only place that you can get this information? Maybe make even a little spreadsheet and just, have 3 columns. Just still check the box next to each one. And the answer, if you got a whole spreadsheet and none of your content has a first, best, or only check mark next to it, it's time to sharpen the pencil. Right? It's time to start looking at what else you can do to be first, best, or only at something.
I think the SEO video show hits all 3. First, best, and only. What do you think? Okay, a page many people pays less attention to is their about pages. Our guest next week, Crystal Carter, shares how to optimize your about page. Let's check this one out.
One is, depending on your vertical, the kind of about page that you have will change. So if you are a customer-facing business, then you will need to have customer-facing information on your about page. And if you are more of a B2B business, or if you are a larger organization, or if you are, say, an educator or a nonprofit or something, then you will also have to have different things on your about page. And it's really important to think about what your competitors are doing, because this can make a difference with how customers are seeing you. So if they're going to your competitors and they're seeing that your competitors have their stockist lists and they have all of their certificates and they have lots of niche specific regulatory declarations, like for instance, if you're buying a medical test, like let's say I'm already mentioned diabetes, but let's say if you were buying a test for diabetes, like a home test for diabetes, there's probably regulatory things that you should do, or that a company who sells that should have. And if your company is doing that and you don't have that on your website, then you should have that on your website so that people can see what you're doing. And this also applies to things like to almost any e-commerce business where they say, this is a secure pay space, and that sort of information. So have a look around at your close competitors, your direct competitors, and also see if you can have a look at best in class at all to see the kinds of information that they're including on their about page.
Optimizing your about page can also be a page to optimize your knowledge panel, which brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions and I will address them in the order that they receive. Don't forget to like and subscribe while I get things ready here. Gus is a journalist turned SEO conference speaker and one-in-one-wild blogger. He has worked with both in-house and digital agencies. He's currently an SEO content manager and indeed the #1 job site in the world with over 250 million unique visitors every month. He won several industry awards, including Digital Media Award, the Drum Search Awards, Irish Content Marketing Awards. He is a contributing author in the SEO 2022 book. Please welcome Gus Pelogia. Gus, my man, welcome to the show. Oh wait, you're on mute.
Hi, Andrew.
There you go. Okay.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm still in the office, so I think I'm the last person in this meeting right now. And, we're going to have a nice, quiet time and let's talk about SEO. And thank you for having me.
Love it. All right, Gus. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on board. In 1 minute or less, how does Gus get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Okay, so if I'm starting a website tomorrow, I'm going to do keyword research. I'm going to do keyword clustering. I'm going to write that content, do a little SERP analysis, see what's ranking out there and see if I can do it better. I'm going to do some EAT. I'm going to explain who is behind that website, why am I qualified to write about this, and I'm going to try to get some links. So my favorite way is to do a survey or a study or something that I can talk about, and those are the things that I will do. Keyword research, content, link building.
Love it, love it. First knowledge bomb of today. So let's rewind this real quick. Guys, take us way back into time. How did you first get into SEO?
All right, so stay with me because there are a lot of countries on this conversation. I'm from Brazil, and I wanted to live somewhere else. Didn't really matter which country, just wanted to be in a place with a different language and see how life would be. So I moved to Argentina. I started working in a Spanish school. The owner of the school knew someone at a online travel agency, and they got me a job in SEO there. A week before my interview was literally Googling what is SEO and kind of discovering, what is this whole universe? And that's how I started. Before that, I studied journalism in college. And in high school, I did a bit of IT. So it's like a technical school. I learned a little bit how to build websites on, very old technologies. But for me, when I discovered what SEO was, it was essentially the tech part that I had studied how to make websites, and the content side and thinking about, getting journalists to write about me. So it was just the two things that I studied in life in one new discipline, and that's why I fell in love with SEO.
Love it. Okay. So you just, you got a job and everything like that. So like, how'd you actually learn it then?
I think the only way to really learn SEO is by doing it. You have to read all the articles that you can. I think back in the days we would have fewer options, so it was easier to find, okay, these are the good people to follow or to learn from now, right? Every day, everyone is writing, everyone has a theory and an opinion, which is good, but it's also more difficult to filter what really matters for you. But for me, the only real way to learn SEO is by doing it.
Love it. I mean, were there any people you followed? I mean, I know like you got into public speaking because you knew like some of these SEOs were all like public speakers, which I mean, I love public speaking myself. I mean, so who were you like following back then?
So I actually, earlier today, I went back to all my Twitter followers to see who was the very first SEO that I started following. And it was actually Matt Cutts, so it wasn't really an SEO. But I do remember watching a lot of his videos, and I think they were very interesting. I do remember learning a lot about from them. He would go on detail about, this is what we're doing. This is a 301. This is how we think about this, and this is how we consider all these things. So I felt was like a very interesting way to learn. And because I had a lot of time, I would spend hours and hours just, watching every video that I could. I did spend many years watching Whiteboard Friday as well. And I do remember being in a situation like this. I was the last person in the office, and the video would drop around 6 p.m. my time. So I would finish my day or my week watching Whiteboard Friday. And, at the end of the week, you're usually tired and drained. That would just completely bring my energy back. I would, go home thinking about a new way to do something, or directions that you could take, and it was very, very very positive. It would bring my energy back every time I would watch. And I do remember watching a lot of videos from Rand at the time. And kind of more than just following, oh, he's telling me to do this, because he wouldn't be necessarily always direct, right? Oh, you have to do this. He would kind of make you think. So I would come back, process a lot of the stuff he would say, and can I apply this? Can I apply half of this? Do I believe in this? Do I believe in that? So it would always kind of train my brain to think about SEO more than just executing because someone told me to execute something.
Love that. Okay, so take us to the present day now. You're at Indeed as the SEO product manager. What's your like day-to-day like at the company?
Yeah, so I'm mostly working with engineers right now. So I kind of have to like pitch if we want to develop a certain thing. So instead of, I feel like before Indeed, when I worked on a smaller place or working in an agency, we would have maybe a 1 hour chat and say, okay, so this month we're going to do this, this, and this. Or you do like a kind of a quick planning, brainstorm with a few people, and you just go ahead and do stuff. Now, because what I'm going to do involves UX engineers and different teams, I can't just jump in and say, let's do this. I have really to put a whole plan and pitch to everybody and show who's going to be involved and how we're going to track all of these things. And it is very different from what I had before, but I'm very excited because you do need to think through about everything. Like it's like when you're putting a presentation to speak at an event, you can't just say, oh, because links matter. It's like, okay, I need to find all the arguments. I really need to show this. I need to convince people that this is the right thing to do. And so this is what I do a big part of my day. I put big ideas. I convince people that they should be done, or sometimes I don't. And I manage all of the execution around this with the UX team and content team and engineers and so on.
I love that. So you're actually working within the product. Since, Indeed is an online product, you're actually changing the product itself and tweaking certain things out. I mean, are you able to share any of like some of the recent SEO tweaks you're able to do on Indeed.com?
Let me think. I'm not sure if I can share about like specific things that we are doing, but we do use an internal system. So we don't I don't use Google Analytics at all.
Okay.
And we like a lot of things we do in the company are run through IQLs. So this is a similar thing like SQL. So we query things all the time. So if I'm, I don't know, releasing a new way to put links in a certain part of the page, I can track those. Or if there's a group of people that are optimizing certain pages, we can tag those pages as well. And the whole company uses IQL, so there's no mismatch on language, right? There's no, well, Google Ads is saying conversions, but Search Console is saying clicks, and Analytics is saying visits. So everybody's speaking the same language, and if it's not in IQL, it's not real. So I'm not going to convince several other departments if this is not in this common place that everybody discuss and uses to do their work. So for me, it just looks very interesting. It's something that I haven't really seen before.
I love that. I mean, one source of truth is always a good way to optimize certain things, because yes, you can get so much different data points in other places, but having that one source of truth is always good. All right. Let's get into some of the topics that we wanted to talk about today. I picked on 3 different topics that I know that you're really, really good at. And the first topic is something that I'm always in as an enterprise SEO, in-house SEO. When you get hired as an SEO, sometimes you get pulled into doing PPC, or sometimes it's SEO/PPC. And this is something that you actually also specialize in. I'm curious, what are some ways that you've seen PPC and SEO work together?
Yeah, I think this integration, it's something really hard to do, but it's very important. So even if you can do things like if you can show that a user started their journey in PPC, but they converted in SEO, or the other way around, or if they went through several channels before conversion, that's a way to prove that those 2 channels are working together. Often I would just suggest to turn off brand ads if nobody else is competing with you, right? Because you pay for it, and you might not pay a lot, but you do take from SEO. So the SEO is going to have to explain why things, traffic or conversions are down. It just turns out that you're paying for that thing that you would have got for free. And something that's back at my agency years that I would use a lot would just to show how much would cost if we were paying for all of this traffic, right? So you can get an average of your cost per click and say, this is the traffic that I got, so this is how much you would have paid for this. And of course, you still paid your SEO agency, and it still costs some money. It's not completely free, but you can show the difference there and how much they actually saved.
Yeah, I love showing the value of organic search. Using the PPC data and say, hey, you know what? If we're ranking for this and we're getting all this traffic, this cost per click, you multiply that with a dollar amount, and you're like, hey, man, this is a lot of money that we're saving here. And I'm curious, when you do, when you see PPC ramp up, increased spend, have you seen any correlations with your organic search or anything like that?
I've heard a lot about this on TV. So people spending on TV and then seeing organic going up, even for queries like non-branded queries. I haven't seen that myself, but I work for a place that was on TV all the time, back in Argentina, and you would see that the moments that they were or actually they were on TV all the time, but it would always rank really well, even though there was a period that the website got completely delisted from Google. I'm not sure if there's a real correlation with brand there, but I've heard a lot about other channels impacting the organic search.
Love that. I mean, so that's like brings us like to like, you know, brand SEO, like, you know, how important brand is when it comes to SEO, because that's something like, okay, yeah, maybe they see you on channel and they're searching your brand, and, you know, it's increasing your authority and stuff like that. So there's in the book, and this, you know, you're a contributing author here in this SEO in 2022 book. What are some top things that we should be paying attention to, you know, with brand SEO?
Yeah, I think if you don't really live inside SEO, you might just think that, you know, your brand, people will search for you, they'll find you, so you don't have to do anything. But once you move out from the marketeer mentality and put yourself in the consumer's shoes, you can see that things are quite different, right? So of course, you're ranking number one. So, but if you're not protecting your brand, first you're going to have some ads that will show up there. So they might try to steal that customer from you, and they do. That's how PPC works. You might have some pages further on the page that are not saying good things about you, right? So I see it all the time, right? I get an ad on Instagram and I say, oh, this looks interesting. Let me Google this product. Let me look for reviews. You find on Reddit, you find blogs, and then you make up your mind based on all the other answers that were there. So you know the brand, you're willing to buy, but maybe if there are, you know, a lot of bad reviews about this product, then you change your mind later. So you need to protect all of that space, right? And some of that will be just making a really good product, but some of that might just be, you know, making sure that you own all of that real estate, all of that SERP space. So if you have social channels, keep them active. If you have maybe pages that are reviewing your product, you know, can you talk with them? Maybe if they left a bad review because you deserved, maybe you know, the product's better now. Can you send a new one? Can you find other ways to protect the brand as a whole? Do your keyword research on your brand as well. Answer all the questions that people have around it. Go even outside of SEO. What are your customer service teams, you know, getting questions about, and so on. So, you know, make sure that you are protecting your brand as much as you can, and of course, try to get the knowledge panel.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right. So before we get to knowledge panels, I'm curious. You said like take you know, most of the SERPs, right? You know, you mentioned social profiles, maybe some websites are doing reviews. And I mean, are there any other type of properties or ways that we can take up more SERP that you can give us some tips on?
I mean, you can always look at, you know, there's the universal SERP there, the old 10 blue links. People find you on images as well. People will find you on videos. So, you know, once you start digging, there are a lot of places that people find you. You might even have other search engines, right? Like Reddit is huge for product review as well. So, and you know that people will give like really deep and strong opinions about things. So are you protecting yourself in all these other places? Maybe you are spending a universe of money in ads and your SERPs are nice, but a lot of your audience hangs out in a different place. They will cross-check before they give you money. So I think there's a whole ecosystem to protect when it comes to brand.
Love it. Okay, guys, if you guys have some questions, be sure to ask them in the live chat so I can ask Gus here. I see a few people joining. Thomas, Rosangela, Red, welcome to the show. So I wanted to go into like when you mentioned like the knowledge panels, right? This is something where when we wanted to talk about some knowledge panels. This is also a way that you can take up SERPs. You know, when you Google yourself, I saw you did a post on LinkedIn today, and you Googled, and like, you know, we took up more SERP with this video. This video actually was on the SERP that actually said, hey, we're going to be going live today. I mean, what are some ways that you know we can develop this knowledge panel? I know you wrote a great blog post on it. I'll put the link to in the description later on. But let's talk about like, you know, Googling your name and, you know, developing that knowledge panel. What are some ways that we can do this?
Yeah, so I think this is something that is more of a new SEO concept, because we are used to write content, get links, do internal linking, and you're gonna rank. But this is, and we also learned a lot about structured data over the last few years. And this is a theory that I have. This is not proven or written anywhere, but I feel that Google knows a lot more and more, even looking at unstructured data. So, if I have bios in a bunch of places, or I have a Crunchbase profile, or even my Twitter, my LinkedIn, Google can look at those places and kind of cross-check who you are, right? So if I've been doing SEO for many years, and I write blog posts in a lot of places, and my Twitter is always there, my LinkedIn is always there, there's a lot of confidence for Google to say, oh, I know who's Gus. He writes about this on all of these different places, and I've seen this name popping up for years and years. So I think this is a way to start building that name.
Got it. All right. So how are you like tying all this together? And so if you're if you say you put your LinkedIn profile here, I mean, there's a way that you're actually like, putting it together to, enforce the relationship of your properties?
Now, oh, absolutely. So this is something that I actually learned just by reading, everything that Jason Barnard puts out there. He is the brand SERP guy, and I do learn a lot from him, get bits and pieces, and find my way to develop my own theories. But for me, having like your main entity, so let's say your website, for me it's at pelogia.it. On that page, for a while I was even playing with, can I get Google to display my age or display where I'm from? So I would write, Gustavo is from this, he is blah blah years old, and I started getting knowledge. Not knowledge panels, just like the top answer. Google would just answer in the SERPs my age, where I live, and things like that. So I think this is kind of the testing that you have to do and learn about yourself. But to answer your main question, is having all of that information on your website is the starting point. And I did a big exercise to learn about how this works, and I realized that there were tons of places that my name was mentioned. Most of them were profiles that I created myself. So on Crunchbase, or I wrote on some websites, or I have my Twitter. Maybe I'm on Quora or LinkedIn and all of that. So I try to give some consistency, or I try to give some consistent information across all of these places, so Google can actually build some trust on, Gustavo is from this country, and he lives in this place, and he works for this company. There's a lot of work to do. I'm guilty myself. A lot of these places will still say that I work in one or two places before Indeed. And if I lose my knowledge panel, or if I start not having that confidence anymore, I know where to start, because I have to fix all of these. But this is kind of like the direction that you would go, right? I have a list of all the places that my name appears, all the profiles that I have control, or some that I also don't have control, right? I wrote a blog post for the Learning Bound website or somewhere else, so I get in touch with them to give that profile showing the things that I want to rank for. So I want to be an SEO that is from this country, has this many years of experience. I also wanted to show up on the carousel for alumni from my college, which I managed to do it now. So I need to make sure that the name of my college is appearing in all the places that I'm talking. So it's an interesting concept, I think, and it's a lot of this I only discovered by putting my head down and trying different things and coming with concepts. And I feel sometimes this is easier to do if it's not your client, because if it's a client, you are like, okay, I have 2 hours, I have to deliver this. But sometimes I would get like lost and go for hours and hours, just doing these things, not really sure if I would get anywhere. But I think we were in lockdown last time I did this. I couldn't go anywhere. So it's easy to get lost doing that kind of stuff, and you always learn at the end. That's how SEO works.
Love that. So, keeping track of like in a spreadsheet of all your profiles that you're able to edit, keep it consistent. And are I mean, I know like some people would talk about like optimizing maybe their homepage, or even like, earlier we're talking about like about pages, because, sometimes there may be some like mishaps there. So on your page, are you optimizing your homepage or like your about page?
I think usually you should go for the about page. In my case, my website is just the homepage is the about page. I don't do a lot more with that website. It's just a list of places that I wrote articles, and I put a couple of articles there. But I'm not selling any services or anything like that. So my about page can be my homepage in this case.
Love that, guys. If you have your own .com, like paulandre.com, that can be your homepage, dre.me.com. I mean, I can just go ahead and put my stuff there. How if you have multiple pages? Are you actually putting schema on any of these? Is there schema on your homepage? How are you? I'm pretty sure you have more than one domain. So how are you like dealing with that?
Yeah, I do have schema on my homepage. I do have a simple person schema, and all of my profiles are there. And I noticed that after doing this and some other work, I started seeing that knowledge panel showing up. Or even Jason Barnard has also a tool that he uses the Knowledge Graph API that we can pop the link here later, and you can search for anything and we'll say if Google understands that query as an entity. And for me, that's a way to say, okay, my name, Google understands my name, I'm an entity. Okay, what's the confidence level here? I had a case before that I worked for. I had a client that they wouldn't really rank for their brand name. The knowledge panel was owned by a different company that had the same name years before. So it wasn't actually essentially the knowledge panel was incorrect because it was showing a brand that doesn't have that name anymore. So I did exactly this process that I'm telling you. I went to every profile. I linked every profile that I could as well. So once you go to your Crunchbase, you do have a page that you can link to your Twitter or LinkedIn. And once you start getting all of those connections, Google will start trusting your brand more and more.
Love that consistency, guys. Again, consistency. So let's pivot a little bit, because you said you're about brands now. It's not about just like your own like name, but you can do this for brands and companies. I mean, is there any difference with that? I mean, like how's there any difference there, or how you optimize like for a company instead of a person?
I think the process is very similar, but as a company, I think you have a higher chance to, let's say, and that really is going to boost that knowledge, because Google do tend to use Wikipedia, Wikidata, and other sources to, look for entities. So if you are there, if you're eligible to be there, then I think you are a few steps ahead in the game.
All right, dropping all these knowledge bombs here. So I wanted to go into, you mentioned like in your blog post, maybe you did, but if not, I saw it somewhere where, you're actually using Wikidata, right? Also Wikidata to actually maybe edit some things. Can you like give us some tips on how we can use Wikidata for our knowledge panel?
Yeah, so I think, again, the first thing is you need to be eligible to be there. So there's a list of criteria to say if you're, a person that is, important enough to have that entity. But there are a lot of things like if you go there and you search, I don't know, Bill Gates, or get someone that is for sure really important, you see the type of information that is there. And you have things like, this is the name of this person. They are also known by this other name. These are their social channels. They work at this place. They won this award. So this is another way that you can build that person. And that's very structured data, right? I think it's like a Wikipedia. If you just go there and write whatever you want, some editor will come in and it will kick you out very easily. So you do need to do it well. And honestly, I wouldn't just jump in and do it for myself and see, oh, am I there, and then just leave. I do try to become like a contributor in any area that I'm trying to do things. And I want to do it well. I tend to be a contributor. I do spend a lot of time on Google My Business as well. Places that I go, if I see like a new restaurant that is not there, I add the restaurant, I check the opening hours, check the phone. And so even though I don't do any local SEO since years ago, I do go there and I still participate in the community. I think it's a great way to learn. And if I ever go back to this, I'm not out of the game. I know what's going on. So I would advise anyone jumping on this to do like that.
Love that, guys. Create an account, guys, on Wikidata as a wikidata.org, and become a contributor. Build up your authority there, and maybe you can talk to people to edit you and get your stuff up going. I mean, I can also vouch on the Wikidata because I'm active on there as well, trying to try to play with around stuff on there too. So I want to go ahead and, guys, if I don't see any questions, if you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat. But I want to go in more into, again, back to like knowledge panels. I mean, is there any other ways that we can enhance it? What are how are you building? Brand is important. You mentioned brand's very important. Like, what are some brand building techniques that we can talk about?
Yeah, I think one more thing that you can do there is if you see some information that is incorrect, you can suggest Google to make a change for you. I've seen sometimes even my own panel, it still says that I work in a different company, so I have to work on that. I think a lot of those things also go, they don't necessarily belong to SEO. If maybe you're doing a lot of PR, there will be a lot of FAQs that will pop up, or you're gonna have a lot of people also ask answers that will naturally be part of that. Do make sure that you're covering those. Maybe if you see information that is not up to date, do contact the website and try to get that on the right way. Another thing that is, I haven't done myself, but HubSpot does, and actually my wife used to do that specific project for HubSpot. Is called surround sound, which is the concept is to not look at the SERPs just for the result that you have, but look at all of the results in page one and do your best to be part of that list. So, this is me. I assume that if you're looking for a new CMS or like a big purchase, you're not going to click on the first result and make up your mind. You're going to do research, you're going to go through a lot of different websites. So if a company is listed in all of these, then it will give also some consistency, right? It will make you trust a little bit better after maybe 3, 4, 5 websites. You're like, you know what? All of these are saying about this 3 brands. I'm just going to research further on those brands. So they wrote blog posts about it. It's not something that a secret my wife told me. This is public. You can find it online. But I just find it fascinating that there was a way to not fight for 1 or 2 positions, but a way to fight for all 10 positions.
Love that. Okay, we got a question here from Stefan. Hi, Gus. How do you get attention from news outlets? What's your strategy for receiving media coverage?
All right. So I think a lot of the things that I had in mind, or that I used to do, everybody does it now. So what I'm going to say here, it's not going to be something new, but you probably have heard that from other people before. But I love to use surveys and studies. So a very simple one I copied from other people was the most Instagrammed something, right? I saw 2 or 3 a few years ago, and I was like, this is very easy to do. Like, I don't need to I don't need to pay for, to collect data. I don't need to do a little big thing. I can literally do that research in 2 hours, and it's easy to do. So let's say I've done plenty of most Instagrammed parks in Dublin, most Instagrammed tourist attractions in Ireland, and you can find any niche you want, right? If you just focus in the city, you have local publications. If you focus in a state, it's still big, but not too big that they will still be interested. So for me, this is a very easy way to get that attention. I love when I see there's a campaign. It's not an SEO guy. I think his website is called Neo.fun, and he made all of these different games. One of them was how to spend Bill Gates money. It's just a coincidence. I'm not a super Bill Gates fan. And he put, maybe his fortune based on, Forbes or something. And then you could select, like, I want to buy 5 Porsches. I want to buy 20 mansions. I want to buy, and then there's a way like you kind of spend on the screen all of his fortune, and it's impossible to spend all of it. But let's say if he was an SEO and he wanted to turn this into a campaign, you would say, most people want to buy, if they had Bill Gates' fortune, they would buy these 10 things. They would maybe buy, people were more interested in buying cars than buying houses. So I think there are ways to play with data like this, right? I've seen work really well, tons of best city for this, best cities for remote work. I've seen lots of times, and even when a friend of mine did, and I think, everybody already did this is not going to work, it worked. So I think those are some ways that you can collect data yourself, and it might not be too complicated. I try to focus on data that is not, let's say if you go into medical stuff, you really need to prove it, right? That this has to be right or that has to be wrong. But if I'm saying most Instagrammed, it's okay, right? There's no, you can disagree. It's like, oh, I don't like this place. This is what the hashtag is saying. And that's it. You move on with your life. It doesn't affect you. It's not your money or life situation. And sometimes there might be like a hidden gem on another place. A campaign that I did was I lost. So real story. I lost my Kindle on a trip. And as I was flying, I flew back to Dublin. I lost my Kindle, so I tried to check with all the airports and airlines if they had found a Kindle somewhere. And then I found an airport that had a list of all the things that people lose at the airport. They weren't saying, I don't know, they didn't have any personal information, but I could see from 500 things, there are 200 phones, there are 50 passports, there are car keys. So I just aggregated all of that data and say, these are the things that people lose the most at the airport. It was a list. I just, rearranged the list to tell a story, and the information was there. I didn't have to do any extra research. I didn't have to look into tons of places to get that done. But, it was just sitting there, and, it was very successful.
Love that, Stefan. Hopefully that answers your question. I mean, yeah, gathering data yourself helps. I mean, you don't have to pay for all these stats and stuff like that. I mean, you can just do a little work and it'll go really, really far. Okay, so we're coming close to the end here. I wanted to make sure, like, if you guys have any more questions, please ask your questions. But for me, I'm going to ask the last question that I ask all my SEO professionals to come on here. If someone wants to become an SEO professional, just get into the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
I would tell them to be really curious and try to do things themselves. So have your own website. It doesn't matter the topic. It's better if you know the topic well, because then you do it. You don't do it for SEO reasons, but let's say when I moved to Argentina, I started a blog about Brazilians in Argentina. So I wrote a lot of content even before I knew about SEO, and that content was ranking, because I knew those are the difficult things that you have to do. This is how you get your visa. This is how you get this document. So you kind of like, I started writing about stuff, and I didn't have it was a basic WordPress website. My website knowledge making, it was long gone. Like I can do a few things, but I'm not an expert. So, do start building those things, and, over time you see, okay, what happens if I change the title? Can I add some structured data here? It doesn't need to be perfect. If I want to add structured data at Indeed, I have to talk with 3 teams, and I have to make sure that everything is working really well. But if I want to put FAQ on a page on my website, because I want to see if it, the code that I'm writing actually makes sense, if Google is understanding this, just do like a smaller version. Do your MVP before you think big. I broke my websites many times. Was just like begging to a friend, because I went on WordPress and it's like, oh, what happens if I change this date here? Things gonna fix something. The whole website was gone. But because your own website, you can just do it, right? It doesn't really matter. It's there for you to discover things, to make mistakes. And I think those are the moments that I learned the most. Those are the moments that I built my confidence. To go to a media and say, if you do this, it's going to work because A, B, and C. Even all the brand stuff that we are talking about now, I'm showing my own examples when I'm pitching for people. We need to do something. I can show I search my own name, or I can, show examples of things that I did before, and that helps people to, be on my side and to take that green light. So build all the stuff that you can, doesn't matter the topic, and, always be curious.
Love that. Always be curious. Okay, so I wanted, if there's any last things you want to say, how people can get a hold of you, anything that can make this episode feel complete for you, please, the stage is yours.
Cool. I am mostly hanging out on Twitter, so it's at Pelogia, so my last name. I sometimes write on my website, which is pelogia.it. I don't do it really often. I try to find things that I discovered that I haven't seen out there yet, or on an angle that I haven't seen out there. So I'm not writing things about the Google helpful update, or things on the day-to-day SEO, because I feel there are enough people doing those things. But if you want to have maybe a one-on-one call with me, I am on Growth Mentor, which is a platform that you can book calls with mentors from all kinds of backgrounds, and the platform is paid, but my calls are free. So if you wanna pick my brain for something, you can book a half an hour call with me for free, and then we can talk about your specific issues.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. I mean, that's the end of the episode, but I mean, this is something I always ask at the very, very, very end. I mean, if you have any special talents you want to share, if you sing, you play any instruments, is there anything you want to do at the end?
I think the only skill that I'm learning right now is to make my baby sleep, and I feel really proud every time I manage to do that. So, but baby's not here. We wouldn't be able to have this call if she was here right now, but. It's not a skill that I show on the call. Maybe next time I'll come up with something better.
All right, Gus, thank you so much. Can you hold on for one quick second? All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!